Hey guys, how are you all doing? And welcome to a very, very exciting episode of Texans Talk Tonight. Texans Jaguars Week 1, long anticipated matchup, lots of questions surrounding this matchup. And I just want to say real quick, Texans fans, I know we've had it tough these past 18 months or so, dating back to even the meltdown in Kansas City, to the Hopkins trade, to the rough 2020 season, to a lot of tough losses in that 2020 season, to good teams too, a lot of games that we really had an opportunity, like the Steelers game, the Vikings game, the Titans twice, the Colts twice, the Bengals, and I could still be missing some. But that's not where it ends, because then after that there's the Deshaun drama, then there's not having a pick in rounds 1 or 2 of the draft, and then there's basically becoming the projected worst team in the league. So we've been through a lot, Texans fans. I just want to let you all know that I feel your frustration, I feel your pain. I'm a Texans fan that lives nowhere near Houston. I actually don't even live in the state of Texas, don't even live really near there either. I have a unique way that I became a Texans fan. No one in my family is a Texans fan, so I know the feeling of just being super upset about the way things are going with your team, but not really having anywhere to vent about it. But this is your safe space, whether you're in my situation or not, whether you live near Houston or not. This is your safe space. If things don't go well tomorrow or at any time during the season, feel free to comment your thoughts below. Just let it all out. It's okay. We're here for each other. It's a community. But with that being said, as I always like to say, and this has nothing to do with me being a Texans fan, I just always like to say, you're a contender until you're not. No matter what the projections say, you're a contender until you're not. What that means is no matter how you're supposed to do, you're tied for the division right now. Everyone's 0-0. You're tied for the division lead, Yeah, say you're lining up for a race, there's that one person or that group of people that's really projected to do well. But as of right now, you're all even because they haven't started yet. So you're neck and neck right now. And I know it kind of sounds dumb and kind of sounds like I'm just trying to be optimistic, but really, you're a contender until you're not. So no matter how it goes tomorrow, just be happy to have football back. Be happy to have the opportunity to watch our team in front of a full stadium divisional matchup. Some fun storylines to get into, which I will start right now. Texans Jaguars opening day, at Energy Stadium. I feel like with this game, some people are predicting more low scoring, some people high scoring, some people lopsided, some people, kind of close. But I just feel like the predictions for this game and the type of game this is going to be are really all over the place. And I think that kind of makes sense because this is going to be a very unpredictable game, mainly because both teams bring in new coaches and new quarterbacks. Jaguars, Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence. A lot of questions about how Meyer's college-style coaching will translate to the NFL level. And for the Texans, David Culley, as a Texans fan, I've loved what I've seen from him in preseason, loved what I've seen from him in the OTAs and training camp, and even the way he handles the press. I really like he's a guy who just seems like a nice guy to be around, but at the same time he has expectations and goals, as all coaches should. So I'm excited to see Culley and Meyer and Lawrence and our guy Tyrod Taylor, who unlike Lawrence has been around the league for quite some time and has been on multiple teams. So I just feel like it's such an unpredictable game because both teams look so different than they have in years past. And, people say, yeah, the Texans have had a lot of recent success against the Jaguars in the past few years, but if you think about it, these teams are both so different, that doesn't really matter. So my first thing to watch is just learning about these two teams. Let's see how Trevor Lawrence looks in his first start. Obviously, he has a ton of experience playing against NFL-type players, playing against teams like Ohio State and, Alabama and even other teams in the ACC. He plays NFL-type talent before. He's played NFL-type talent before, and he's obviously going to play NFL-type talent this year. So, and that's a factor, too. The bright lights and the big stage is nothing new to him, being in the college playoff. I mean, college football playoff multiple times in his career. He's not unused to being on the big stage, to having people talk about him, to being the center of attention. I mean, people knew he was going to be the number one pick whenever he declared when he was a freshman in college and maybe even before that. So Trevor Lawrence, I really don't think there's going to be that many rookie nerves. I mean, it just maybe on the first drive, but this guy's been in the spotlight and winning and handling pressure both like literally on the field but also externally from the media and from attention from fans. So if it's a guy like, whenever Trey Lance starts for San Francisco, then I could get it coming from a smaller school, not as much experience in college, not as much experience, in front of a national audience. I get it, but, I feel like the NFL is almost going to be a second nature to Trevor Lawrence. So for the Texans fans saying that we might be able to, make Trevor uncomfortable, if we are, I don't think it's going to have anything to do with it being his first NFL start. So sorry to disappoint you guys. Hey, I hope we pick him off 5 times, obviously, but I just don't think Trevor's nerves are going to be prominent, if even existent at all. But, I don't know the guy. We'll see. But that's my point on that. And for us, I just think it's finding chemistry on offense. That's the key. Just start positive. I really feel like if we fall behind like 10-0 or 14-0 in the first quarter, then I just feel like it's going to be a really bad vibe the rest of the game. While as if we just get ahead 7-0, produce a drive, get some life in the stadium, I just feel like that could really make a huge difference. So I think the start of the game is going to be key. I feel like if it's a close game in the first quarter, it'll be a close game the rest of the way. But if one team pulls away in the first quarter, then it might not really ever become that competitive the rest of the way. So I think setting a tone is going to be a key in this game. Again, with so many new players, so many new faces, 2 franchises that aren't projected to be that great this season. Although I think the Jaguars could win 7 or 8 games this year. I think they have the talent, just are at least a year away from becoming a playoff team in my opinion. But anyway, so the start is key. But looking at some key matchups, I'm looking at Chris Conley and whoever he's going to go against for the Texans. Chris Conley, I think, did some nice things in the preseason. Obviously, he'll be going up against his former team, Jacksonville, who he was with as recently as just this past season. So some extra motivation there. I'm watching him, and I'm watching who he's matched up against with. Maybe it'll be Shaquille Griffin. That'd be my guess. I'm guessing C.J. Henderson's going to be on Brandon Cooks. And I feel like when people play us, they're going to think Brandon Cooks is the only legitimate receiver we have. But in our receiver room, I think we have some very underrated guys. Conley being one of them, another being Anthony Miller, who I think is going to play, in the game. I'm not 100% sure. I think that, might be up in the air still. If you know for sure, excuse me, again, I'm filming this really late. If you know for sure, let me know in the comments. But I think Chris Conley is a player to watch against Shaquille Griffin. I think he runs his routes really well. Very underrated guy. I think he'll emerge as our number 2 receiver, at least at the start of the season. Maybe Nico Collins will take over in that spot later in the season. But I think for now, Chris Conley is going to be our wide receiver number 2. So I'm watching his matchup against Shaquille Griffin, likely, or whoever he's matched up against. He's just a player that I think could be an unsung hero for the Texans. Maybe not a guy that, people think about. I mean, when they think of our offense, they think of Brandon Cooks and they think of Laramie Tunsil, but mainly only because of how much we gave up to get him. So I think Chris Conley will be a name that people might be talking about a lot more mid-season or at the end of the season. Might be more well-known by then than he is now. So I expect Chris Conley to make some plays. He's a guy I'm watching, taking some pressure off of Brandon Cooks. That's who Jacksonville is going to be centering on. That's who Jacksonville's probably been game planning for, at least what their defensive backs have been game planning for is Brandon Cooks. But I think Chris Conley is going to be a guy who, if he steps up and if he gets open, I think it'll make life easier for Tyrod Taylor and that Texans offense. So Chris Conley is the player I'm watching for us. And also, if this is what we didn't do last year. Yes, try to run the football. We brought in all these running backs for a reason. It's fine. I get it. But if the run game's not working, don't be stubborn, okay? If you're running the ball on the first 2 plays of every drive and you're always getting like 3rd and 8, switch it up. Don't wait to the 4th quarter to start throwing the ball. It happened multiple times last year. We were too stubborn in our play calling, too stubborn about trying to get the run game going when we were, just not getting anywhere. And then, in the 4th quarter when we're down 14 or down 21, then we'll start throwing. But then it's too little too late. If the run game's not working, 2nd quarter, and you're down 10-0, let's go. Sense of urgency. Start throwing the ball. You got, some nice receivers too. And Jacksonville's defense is, they've got some solid players. Henderson's a solid corner. Josh Allen can do some things. Kayvon Chason could have a solid year. Miles Jack as well. But, just open-minded play calling is going to be huge for the Texans. I think if the run game doesn't work and we are able to realize that and say, hey, let's start throwing the ball more on 1st down, let's start, rolling Tyrod out of the pocket more, then I think that's going to be successful. But if we have the last year mentality where we say, no, run, it'll break through eventually, and it doesn't, that might cost us the game. So I think open-minded play calling is a key. Tim Kelly is our offensive coordinator, one of the few coaches that was here last year, so maybe he'll be able to help out with that. I just hope that we just don't stay to the runs too stubborn. I'm not anti-run. If the run game's working, yeah, pound that thing. Let's go. But again, if the run game does not work for us, I think we have to realize that and make some in-game adjustments, something we didn't do enough of last year. Also, defensively, I'm watching the Lovie Smith defense. I think even just in the preseason games, when you watched our defense line up, you were like, okay, yeah, this looks different, and that's because it does. It's a new guy, new scheme. We're going to the 4-3 this year. I kind of like it, like what I've seen from it, and like the way our guys have played in the preseason. Yes, I know, but the energy and the production that I've seen from our defense in the preseason is encouraging, and I think the team that wins the turnover battle tomorrow. Well, I'm technically filming this. It's already Sunday, less than 12 hours before kickoff. The team that wins the turnover battle in the game, I think, is going to win the game. So when I watch our defense, I'm just looking to see what the Lovie Smith defense looks like in a regular season. Charles O'Menahu, Jacob Martin, a couple guys to keep an eye on, a couple guys that I'm pretty high on. Charles was probably one of our best players in the preseason. Jacob's a guy that I think is underrated. He can move around pretty well. Think he might be used more in a blitzing role this year. Number 54 in blue, so watch out for. We'll be wearing white tomorrow, so number 54 in white as we wear the Liberty white to start out the regular season at home, as we so often have. So I'm watching our defense, and just something about our defense. You're going to see a lot more guys up front, a lot more guys, linebackers playing up, bluffing like they're going to blitz. A couple guys like Grugier Hill usually will drop back into coverage, but you're going to see a lot more guys up towards the line of scrimmage, and then that middle area of the defense is going to be a lot more wide open. So if you're looking for plays to run against us, like that Jacksonville might try and exploit, they're going to try and exploit slant routes, post routes, 10-yard ins, stuff like that over the middle of the field that's, kind of behind the defensive line and the linebackers who are playing up, but before the defensive backs. There's kind of that mid area that is going to kind of be a weak spot in our defense, and that's just the vibes I'm getting from what I've seen in the preseason. But at the same time, if we put more guys back, then the run defense is going to be bad, and we don't need the run defense to be any worse than it was in 2020. So just a heads up, slant routes over the middle, medium post routes, 10-yard ins, any kind of intermediate routes that cross to or over the middle of the field could be a weak spot for our defense, but there's going to be a weak spot for every defense. There's no such thing as a perfect defensive scheme. If there is, then it would have been implemented by every team in the league by now. So that's something to watch. And for us, one more thing before I say a few points about Jacksonville, then make my pick, then wrap this puppy up because it's late and I want to go to sleep and wake up and watch the Texans. But for us, something that's really been overlooked for us is Tyrod Taylor. I mean, it's always when we're talking about the Texans, it's like, talk about this and this and this and this, and oh yeah, they have Tyrod and this and this. Let's talk about this guy, because I am really happy for Tyrod Taylor. I know, he's in a situation where he's probably not going to win that many games, but when you look at what this guy's had to deal with over his career, really gotten some tough breaks, but now, I don't think there's any sense we're trying to rush Davis Mills into action. So Tyrod Taylor's finally got a situation where it's his team. He doesn't have someone breathing on his neck behind him, threatening to take his job. It's his team. I think the coaching staff likes him. I think the coaching staff is eager to see him as our QB1. Obviously not something we would have expected a year ago, but that's the NFL. That's life. Things change quickly. So I want to talk about Tyrod Taylor because he's a mobile quarterback. He's got experience. He led Buffalo to the playoffs, but he just really hasn't gotten his chance yet. And I know that's crazy because he's kind of considered a veteran now, and he's been around multiple teams. But, Buffalo, he did good. Got him to the playoffs, ended that crazy drought, started the playoff game for them, I believe, where they lost to Jacksonville in that low-scoring 10-3 game. I think he started. I'm not sure if I think he started, but if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. Sorry for the confusion, but he did contribute in that Buffalo postseason appearance and in that season leading up to that. But then they don't bring him back, and they draft Josh Allen, which in retrospect was probably a good move because Josh is a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. But still, then he goes to Cleveland and, does decent, but then gets injured, I believe, in the Thursday night game against the Jets. Then Baker Mayfield comes in. The rest is history. Tyrod's done. And then yet again, he gets a chance to start week 1, wins the week 1 start against the Bengals, only because the Bengals kicker missed the field goal. But whatever, wins the start against the Bengals, is 1-0 as with the Chargers now. This was just last year in 2020. But then a team doctor accidentally punctures his lung before the week 2 matchup against the Chiefs, and he would never start another game for the Chargers again, as again, future offensive rookie of the year, Justin Herbert, would take the reins. And again, not saying he was better than Justin Herbert or Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield, but the fact of the matter is this guy's gotten some tough breaks. He's just been in the wrong situation at the wrong time. Always been, someone where, like I said, people were more concerned about the guy behind him than actually him. But I think Texans fans, yeah, Davis Mills, maybe we'll see him at some point this season. But right now, like, this is Tyrod's team. Like, I don't think there's any rush to get Davis Mills in there, especially when he hasn't had that much experience. I think he only has like 11 college starts or something. And got a little more experience in the preseason, but I don't think he's quite fully NFL ready yet. So, Tyrod, congrats. You've been through a lot, and I'm happy for you. And I think a lot of Texans fans are happy for you, too. So I'm just trying to shed some light on him. I'm watching him tomorrow, especially just seeing what he does with the team that's finally his. I think he's going to try and spread the ball around. He might go Brandon Cooks heavy early, but then as he gets more comfortable, gets more into a routine offensively, I think we'll try and spread the ball around more. I think Tyrod's going to use his legs a little bit. And again, just wanted to mention Tyrod Taylor. And I'm just so happy that he finally has an opportunity to have a team be his, to be a QB1 for hopefully more than a couple weeks. He's earned it, so very happy for our signal caller. He's been through a lot, so just wanted to mention that because I feel like it's something Texans fans are not talking about enough. A few quick notes on Jacksonville. They're going to try and run a lot. They're going to try and, prove that we still have a bad run defense expect. A heavy load from James Robinson, especially near the goal line. Wouldn't be surprised if James Robinson has potentially at least 2 touchdowns. In fact, I think James Robinson will have 2 touchdowns at least. I think Jacksonville's going to try and exploit the run. I think that even though we have a new defense, Jacksonville, watching us last year and just thinking that we're going to be the same, we'll try and run the ball a lot. Also, Trevor Lawrence, sometimes he doesn't read pressure the best, and sometimes he doesn't get out of the pocket quickly enough. So maybe if we get some quick pressure, I think that could be problematic for Jacksonville. If we can, pressure him quickly and get to him, that's the key. But if you pressure him quickly and don't get to him and he escapes, then that can be problematic. So at times, sending the blitz, but also being smart defensively. And another thing that's underrated about Trevor Lawrence are his legs. That guy can run. A lot of times they'll do at Clemson, he did the play action thing where he'll hold it for a minute in front of, ironically, Travis Etienne, who's on the Jags, but out for the season with the injury, unfortunately. So what Trevor would do at Clemson, he'd take the snap, hand it here, and then go run it himself. He'd literally stand there, stop, leave the ball there for a little bit, then take it and go run it himself. So watch for Trevor on the ground, both, generally, but also by the goal line. That's something I'd like to do at Clemson. Having Trevor running in at the goal line after a play action to the running back. Watch out for that. So, again, for Trevor Lawrence, he's great, but try and pressure him, try and collapse him in the pocket, keep him in the pocket, and also in short yardage situations, especially down in the red zone and by the goal line, watch out for his legs. Also, again, Jacksonville's defense isn't great, so play with confidence, play like everyone has the same record because they do, and just for the Texans, don't let Jacksonville intimidate you. I don't think they will. I think they're going to come out firing, but, just play the game. I just think the key for us is we can't be too uptight. We got a lot of new pieces, a lot of players putting on our helmet in a regular season game for the first time. I get it, but I think the key for us is to not be tense because no matter what the projections say, everyone's 0-0. So don't put any added pressure on yourself because, projections don't matter. Everyone's 1-0. So with that, again, I know I kind of rushed this maybe, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. It's like almost 1 a.m. Kickoff's in 11 hours, so that means I got to get to bed. But boy, when I wake up tomorrow, it's going to be like Christmas morning. A full slate of NFL games, but of course, our Texans taking on the Jaguars in the season opener at noon Central. But before that, I got to give my score pick. And I really want to pick the Texans, but I do think that we're going to drop this one. I have Jacksonville winning 33-30. I want to pick us, but I just think that Trevor Lawrence is going to make a few plays in key moments, especially on the ground. I think that James Robinson's going to have a couple touchdowns, and I think it'll be a fun game to watch, honestly. I think it'll kind of be one of those instances where it's two teams, but the game itself is actually really good. I think it'll be back and forth. I think there'll be some key defining moments, maybe a couple fourth downs, a couple field goals made or missed. But in the end of the day, like it was so many times over the past few years, at the collegiate level, it'll be Trevor Lawrence just making a few plays when it matters most, whether it's a simple 4-yard QB keeper to pick up a big third down or a throw to James Robinson in the flat that goes for 30 yards somehow because that sounds about Texans defense. So we'll see if that happens. But ultimately, I want to pick us. But at the end of the day, I think it'll be a good game. I pick up here, not down here. I'm picking the Jags 33-30. So there's my predictions. As always, comment your thoughts and predictions down below. Texans fans, whether it's a win, loss, or tie tomorrow, we're always Texans fans, and we're always here for each other. So enjoy the game, whoever and wherever you are watching it, whoever you are watching it with, wherever you are watching it. Enjoy it. Have fun. Football's back. Who cares about the projections? Just go have fun for a couple hours tomorrow before we have to all go back to school and work on Monday. Texans, Jags, 12 o'clock. Those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you on the next episode, and go Texans.